Welcome to the Mind of Our Own podcast. I am Josh Lynott, but I am not the host of this. Today I am introducing you to Lani Morehouse. She is the mastermind behind Mind of Her Own, the creator, founder, and she is going to grow Mind of Her Own into something amazing, which is why we're here today, because I would like to introduce Lani to you all, to whoever's listening. And I actually sat down with Lani this morning. We did a little photo shoot and we went and had some avocado toast together. And I just wrote some things down about Lani so I could tell you who she is. And rather than go into what Lani has done, achievements and other kind of material things, I wanted to know who Lani is. So we started with what is Lani like? She likes to be in or near the ocean. She is a closet rider. She likes to move slow in anything. One example she gave was trail running, particularly long and slow. This year, she said yoga has been insane for her, and it's a practice that she has enjoyed a lot. She loves to cook. She finds it very cathartic. And food is her love language. And she said one of the best presents she received this year was her friend cooked a caramel slice on her birthday. Another thing that she's really enjoyed this year has been reconnecting with her podcast. And as a friend of Lani, a reasonably new friend in terms of Lani's time on earth, over the last 2 years, I've got to know Lani through the Salt Social, which she started with her partner, Jai. I see Lani as a very big-hearted, kind, gentle human. She always gives me a warm embrace. She holds a long hug. And the way Lani holds space in this world, I find very calming. And I'm really excited for Mind of Her Own. So, it's an honor for me to be here today with her for the launch of Mind of Her Own. So without further ado, welcome Lani to your own podcast. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you. And thank you for that awesome intro. Couldn't have done it better myself. Probably couldn't have done it myself at all. But yeah, no, very grateful to have you here, Josh.
Oh, well, thanks for having me here.
Of course.
I'll start with one of your questions, which I saw that you wrote down earlier today. What are your 5 most important values?
This has been a question for me this year, and something that I've been striving to answer. And I'm happy to say I feel like I've definitely figured out what they are as of late, in no particular order. Definitely connection is my number one. True, deep, meaningful connection with family, friends, my fiance Jai. Quality time is my number one. My next top value would be movement. It has been a savior for me. It slows everything down, especially when I get stuck in my head. It's also a way for me to play. I love just moving, whether it's fast, slow, walking, running, surfing, swimming, doesn't matter. And rest has been huge for me. Just coming back to a place of stillness and finding the things that bring me that has been very special. 2 more.
3 is pretty good. But if you want to put 2 more, you can.
No, I think they're my main ones for now.
And so on my workshops that I do with people, I get them to write down their values, and then I get them to write them down. We rip them into 3 different pieces of paper, and then I go around the room and I take one away, and I ask them how they feel when I take one away. So if I took away, say, movement, what would that mean? If I took that out of your life and you were left with connection and rest, could you still function?
I think absolutely, like, if you took movement away, oh, no, that's a hard one.
What if you just had to pick one of those three?
Those three.
That you just could not live without?
Connection.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
That's going to keep you alive.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that. And on the flip side, we'll go with a lighthearted question now. If tomorrow was your last day on Earth, it's not a very lighthearted entry to a question, but if tomorrow was your last day on Earth, what are you having for brekkie?
Oh, we discussed this.
I found this funny because Lani's like, yeah, if tomorrow was my death day. I was like, yeah, that's one way to put it.
My death day. It's like your death dish question. Like, what is?
Oh yeah, death dish. That's the one.
Death dish.
Not death day, death dish.
My last meal, my last breakfast on Earth. I remember saying to you how it depends on the weather.
So Lani also chose the weather.
Yes. So I specified that it had to be
I wish I could do that at cafes. Can I just get avo toast and
side of sunshine.
yeah, side of sunshine? Thanks. 27 degrees. Keep the humidity in the kitchen.
Yeah. So death dish, it would start off with a clear, bright, beautiful Gold Coast morning in my family home backyard, surrounded by sunflowers and tomatoes at the moment. And it would be a bowl of fresh papaya, blueberries, banana, finished off with coconut yogurt and granola.
Yep. Absolutely. Any honey?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Need a bit of honey on the
Definitely.
papaya.
Non-stop honey.
Non-stop. Incredible. And I'll hit you with another one. What are you most excited for or by at the moment?
Oh, a fresh year, a fresh start, a new energy to go after all of the things that I want to achieve in 2023. Yeah, I feel like this year has been all about growth and building momentum. And now that I've found it, it's just like keeping that ball rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how does it feel to be in that space at the moment, to actually have some momentum behind you? And
it's incredible, like something I didn't think I would be able to describe. Still can't describe in words. I came from a place where I feared that it was something I'd never have ever again. And now being like where I am and to have the energy to go after that is so refreshing. And just exciting. It's like, yeah, I'm just ready for it.
I'm ready to see it.
Yeah.
And what do you think what were the catalysts to help build that momentum? Like if we're looking at it from a point of stagnancy to where you are now, what helped shift that energy, that state of mind, that state of being?
Definitely movement. The people that I've met this year all have been incredible guides and listeners, and support. There have been many people this year that have gotten me through my darkest moments, and I have nothing but love and thanks to give to them.
Oh, that makes me happy. I know some of you are just going to be listening, but I can see the love flowing out of Lani as she says that right now, which is why I was kind of like lost for words a little bit. So, as I said in the intro, today is about mind of our own. And I want to kind of dig into that with Lani, unpack it and find out more about what it is. And if you're just coming across mind of our own, maybe you're on podcasts, you've listened to podcast 20 or 30 and you're coming back to the intro just to find out how it began and what it is and the seeds of it all. This is what today is about. So we'll start off with, what is mind of our own to you right now?
To me right now. It is a creative outlet. But more importantly, it's a home. Not just for me, it's for that me a year ago that needed a space like this to use as a guide, somewhere where I could have come to find an answer, or just a spark of an answer. A place where I could unashamedly be myself in my lows and in my highs. A place where I felt human and so okay to be that just that person who I was in that moment, and know that it was all going to be okay. And I want to be able to give that to other people. It's something I feel is so lacking in this day and age, and it would bring me nothing but joy to be able to create that.
Incredible. So if we go back to a year ago and we're looking at, like, when did Moho come to mind for you, and what were where did it grow from? So you've kind of just said that a year ago this is like what you needed, and you need this creative outlet and this home. But if we go like deeper again, like, what was the day it's like, this is gonna be Moho, this is what I'm gonna build?
Yeah, it's funny, it's kind of like, it was one of those ideas that just, you hear people talk about moments of, I guess, a light bulb coming on. And as cliche as that sounds, that's what it was. It was literally, I was on my day off. I'd slept in. Embarrassingly.
Necessary.
Yeah, necessary.
Looking after the body, the mind. We're big fans of sleep here.
I hate to say it, but I didn't get out of bed until 11 that day.
Love that.
But no, it was good. It was so needed. It was like rainy morning, and then all of a sudden the sun came out. And I had all of the space and time in the world to just be like, all right, I'm going to get up. Jumped on my bike, rode along the coast all the way to Coolangatta from my house in Currumbin.
So you've had a good sleep.
Yeah.
You've had some movement, had some sunshine.
Yeah.
Not sure if there was a papaya, but we'll find out.
No, that was a coffee in bed type of morning. Thank you, Jai.
You're a good man, Jai.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, no, I'd been in the water. So rest, movement, ocean. And then I had my headphones in on the way back, just listening to whatever felt right that morning. And I was just thinking about contribution and a way for me to give back what I feel had been given to me. And that's when Moho was born. I was like, the idea was, how cool would it be to create a space where my previous self could have come to and just shown up and found connection and safety and amongst other women or people who were on the same path or who had walked the same path. It was like, how cool would it be if I could facilitate that?
Awesome. There's a lot of questions I have there, but I'll go back to something you said at the beginning, and I kind of want to understand what creativity is to you and what it means.
Yeah, absolutely. Creativity to me comes in many forms. I love to write, always have. Words I get, and I feel like it's funny because I'm not a phone call person.
Really?
Yeah, one of my good friends and I have this.
How do you feel about voice notes?
Voice notes? I'm coming around to it. Okay. I'm not gonna lie.
Because last night I was voice noting Lani before this podcast. And she sent some back, so I was like, okay, maybe she's all good with voice notes.
Bear in mind, I did record those voice notes 3 times over, so. But yeah, no, definitely coming around to the idea. Being on this podcast now is definitely out of my comfort zone. But I'm learning to embrace everything.
Also, I just want to jump in and say this year, Lani told me this morning she's most proud of her courage to be vulnerable. So here we are. She's in it. She's doing it. Sorry, continue.
No, thank you for that. Yeah, creativity, words, movement. I used to be a dancer when I was younger. Gave it up for surfing. Art. I am going to take this moment to boast slightly, but I am an artist, always have been. Something I need to come back to, definitely. So art is one.
2023, that's the year.
Yeah, definitely. Music as well. I love music.
Playing or listening?
Listening.
Yeah. Can you play?
No, I cannot.
What would you play if you could?
Acoustic guitar. Yeah.
Very good. And who would you want to play with if you could pick any musician in the world to do a duet with?
Oh, that's a good question.
For me, it'd be John Mayer. I'd love to be up on stage with John Mayer, free falling, live at the Nokia Theatre.
Wow. What a segue. No, I love that. Actually, I'm going to go with Jack Johnson. Yeah. Oh, it takes me back to when Mum and Dad would take my brother, my sister and I on road trips, and that was the CD I'd pick when CDs were a thing. Yeah, that was my number one, Jack Johnson. Yeah. Jack
Johnson, he's the man. So we went on a little tangent. There. But I'll go back to what is Mind of Our Own. And so we've gone into creativity. And then the other thing you talked about was the space that you want to create. So obviously Mind of Our Own is evolving. It's in its infancy right now. So, but if it could be anything, like your greatest dream for it, and just go wild, there's no ceiling on what it is, like what would this space be?
Greatest goal, and to
like, again, if we go back to that version of a year and you had a space that you could go to and just be like, this is where I feel safe, I feel held, I feel I can be unashamedly myself right now.
Yeah. It would be traveling. So it would be something like a retreat held overseas, full of all good things. I'm talking like movement in the morning, early morning yoga sessions, a day at the beach, a trail run, a hike. It would be equal parts exciting and adventurous and equal parts slow and restorative. I can see a a group of ladies, girls, women, however you want to describe them, together, bearing their souls and not being afraid to do it, being in the kitchen, learning how to nourish themselves, not just in a food sense, but also in like spirit and soul, and learning to accept and be kind to themselves and be brave. Like, you can do anything. And then, just being able to facilitate that courage and that fire, and to give them new experiences that they might not have had if they'd not come across Mind of Her Own. That's what I can see.
I think the thing that stands out for me there was creating a space that is nourishing. And for me, listening to that, and also as someone that hosts retreats, it's like, I know not everybody can get to a retreat.
Yeah.
So as an offering of Mind of Her Own, it's like, okay, can this podcast be a space for these women, these ladies, these girls, where whether it's 20 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, however long the audio goes for, there's something nourishing in that for them to take away.
Definitely.
So we've kind of got like the physical space, and in one sense, which is retreats, and then the audio. Do you feel like there's any other potential zones or areas or places which Mind of Her Own would nourish women?
Yeah, definitely. Like putting out content that they can use as tools, whether that's journaling prompts or
recipes, maybe.
Yeah, recipes. Has to be. I love a good recipe.
Playlists.
Yes.
I'm sure Lani had a great playlist on in the car this morning.
Ziggy Albert's radio, if anyone's wondering. Recipes. Even just quotes that really hit home. I feel like sometimes when you're scrolling and you get stuck in a bit of a scroll hole and you come past and a short sentence and it just changes your whole day. Like the one we were talking about that you put up, that really changed the course of my day, and just being able to put that out there. It's like I remember saying to you, what we consume in a media sense or a social media sense, it can be quite impactful. So making sure that whatever I put out there is in line with what I'd want to see, I think that would be great.
It's so important because it's now like the world has geared us to spend so much time on our phones, on laptops, on screens.
Yeah.
And that's a consumable.
Yeah.
It's like we eat, we drink, what we sleep, like even how we sleep is like, that's how we're nourishing ourselves. And it's like, what's on our screen? How are we nourishing ourselves?
Absolutely.
With that?
Yeah.
So I think it's so important that both as, like, we have a responsibility to put out content, and then as a consumer, so to speak, or someone that's taking it in, it's like you have a responsibility to be mindful of what you're absorbing.
Definitely. So, it's something we can all be more aware of.
And is there any other parts of what is Mind of Her Own? Before I go into who is it for, I know you've touched on that it's for women, but is there anything else you want to add to the what? For me, this is just kind of like a back and forth brainstorm because I know it's just
me too. Like
the beginning. So
there have been moments of clarity sitting in this chair.
I think it will be cool to listen back to this in a year's time and just see
how it's grown.
Yeah,
I'm excited. the one big fat exclamation mark that I want to make is a space of authenticity. And just...
I have another big fat exclamation mark, which I wrote down this morning.
Go for it.
Anti-exclusive.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. Absolutely.
Lani said, nothing hurts me more than seeing someone left out or knowing that they're feeling left out.
Yeah.
So mind of her own is anti-exclusive, aka inclusive. But that had a bigger exclamation mark next to it.
That gave me goosebumps, actually. Yes, that is a big one for me, is inclusivity. But yeah, no, just creating... Moho will be a space where people can come and be unapologetically themselves. No judgment, no fear, and just total acceptance, not from others. Like, fuck that, who cares?
Yeah.
It's yourself. Like, learn to love and accept yourself.
Could just finish things there, but we won't.
It's too good.
Yeah, that's the mic drop there. Okay, so now, who is Moho for?
So Moho is for... Initially, I'd geared it towards women my age or in my kind of like demographic. But the more I think about it, the more...
So for people that don't know you at all, how old are you, Lani?
I am 24 years old as of November. Yeah. 24.
Freshly.
Oh, that feels weird.
Freshly 24.
Yeah. So it would be within that kind of like age range, whether it was early 20s to late 20s. But the more I've thought about it, the more expansive it gets. It's like, I remember what it was like when I was 15, 16, still at high school. If I had something like this, I feel like it would have changed my life. But very grateful for everything I've experienced so far. Like, it's all had a purpose.
That's a question I wanted to go back to before I forget. Before we went on the Jack Johnson tangent, you said people have given you a lot.
Yes.
What have they given you?
Love. Acceptance.
Yeah.
Time, space. Most of all, patience. Yeah. A lot of patience.
And that's what you give them back. Fantastic. So we've got, for women, your age.
Yeah. Particularly, whether it's a supplementary space for younger girls in their early teens, I feel like that would be... They're just such...
Let's imagine you were 15 or 16 living in today's world.
Yeah.
Are you listening to this on your way to school, after school? Maybe they've just got their driver's license. Like, where would you hope that they would sit and listen or take in Mind of Her Own?
I feel like in a physical setting. So, like bringing a bunch of young girls together, A, to connect.
Yep.
B, to know that they're not alone. They're not the only ones going through it. I feel like you can find yourself in a space where you just feel like you are the one person on earth who is experiencing these thoughts and feelings, but it's so not the case. And when you find another human that's going through the same, you're like, oh, I can breathe. Like,
makes the world a lot lighter.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not broken. It's like, I'm going to be okay.
I'm not an alien.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So yeah, just it would be bringing them all together. And I'm a visual learner. Like, I love being in it and amongst it. I feel like it's the most potent way to learn.
I think there's no better way to learn than experience.
Absolutely.
Heavily biased, but...
But yeah, it'd be just taking them through tools and strategies to elevate their life, their thoughts, and know that they do have the power within to do that. Yeah.
And what kind of topics or themes would be most important for you to cover and unpack and give to these women?
First and foremost, intuitive movement.
Mm-hmm.
Just being able to guide them back to themselves, and to what feels right, not what they think is right. Because
they're two majorly different things.
Oh yeah. We are so blinded by external factors. It drowns everything else out. The head noise, it's loud. And being able to teach them how to soften that, and go with what feels right. That's the money.
That's the money right there.
Yeah.
For you, I want to go into two things about feeling. Are there any examples in your life where you've acted in a way from thinking versus feeling, like you've gone and lived a certain way or followed through with certain actions because you thought that was right, even though it didn't feel right?
Yeah.
Do you have any instances of that come to mind?
Oh, daily.
Yeah?
Daily. It's a constant back and forth. Yeah, when it comes to, I'm getting better at it, but I've struggled with using movement as a way to, I guess, escape my own head noise. It's like the harder and faster I move, the less I focus on what's going on in my head. So just allowing myself to sit with that and find different outputs. That's been a funny one, a fun journey.
In what way?
I feel like I've pushed my body to absolute extremes this year, and I've suffered the consequences of that, but that's so fine. It was a learning. And now I'm very much in a space of intuition, and learning to, rather than just think, sit and feel as well, and then go with that. And also just trusting in my instincts. It's like, rather than overanalyzing, I will just go with the first thing that comes to my mind. And if it doesn't happen to be the right thing, that's okay.
I like that there's this beautiful balance between reaction and response. And for me, I see response as taking a pause. And then you have this reactionary side of you, which is, okay, just going with the first like gut instinct. And in a lot of discussions I've had around reaction, it's like we kind of think of it as being a negative, and there can be a negative side to it.
Yeah.
But in other times it's just like, yeah, go with the gut, go with what feels good.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful side to reaction. Whereas then you have the response, which is like, okay, this is the stimulus, this is the information that has come to me. I'm going to just give it 5, sit with it, pause, and then go from there.
Yeah.
And I think it's a powerful place to be able to use both to your advantage.
Absolutely. It's like, what's that word you used this morning? Duality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has a certain ring to it.
And I've got here as well in my little book of notes the why.
Yeah.
So again, it's kind of like the red thread that's gone through all these questions. But like for you right now behind Mind of Her Own, what is the deep why? like, why do you want to create this safe space for others? Like, I know you've said it was for like yourself a year ago, and you want to give that. But if we go like, again, like go deeper, it's like, if that was around and you could, and you will create that, like, why is it so important? Because I know there's other ways that you could help
absolutely
women. So like, why this outlet?
I think that it should be, I'm going to say the first thing that's come to my mind.
Absolutely. I actually don't really like why questions, because they're like, I'm not trying to like shut you down or anything, but they can do that. Yeah. And I'm just like, it's just like, why? Yeah. And I'm just like,
totally.
Yeah.
It's like, why could be taken in so many different ways, and it's just one little word. But no, I'm going to say the first thing that came to my mind just then, and honestly, to prove to myself that I can and that I'm capable of holding space. Because it is something that I never thought I'd be able to do. Not for other people, but for myself. And it's funny, I've had so many people say to me as of late how well I hold space and how calm they think I am. And to be honest, I've sat there and I've looked at them and I've been like, really? Are you sure? Like, you haven't mistaken me for someone else?
Well, I think you're super calm. So this is, let's go. Tell me more.
Yeah, it's just like I feel like I go through my day like this anxious little ball of like pent up energy, and there's so many thoughts running through my mind, and I can't tell you how many circles I go in about the littlest things.
So is this a place to like expel that pent up energy?
I think so. Yeah.
Great.
I think so. And what better way to do it than this?
Couldn't agree more. For me, like creativity is everything.
I know, I can see it. Like this morning it was, for those of you who are listening, if you can witness Josh in the wild, it is fascinating. Like, man, you get him around some good lighting behind a lens, and I promise you it'll be a show. Watch this space.
Watch this space. Good things coming from it. But yeah, you're talking about how you're an artist, and I think a lot of people just think of creativity and one's ability to write, to paint, to draw. And then you said that you gave up, we kind of put aside art for surfing. Yeah. Yeah. See, I also see surfing as art.
Me too.
It's art, but in the form of movement. It's like the way you surf versus the way I surf, which should not even be in the same conversation, but they're forms of expression.
Absolutely.
And it's like the way we do life is like that's our ultimate like brush stroke. Like life is our canvas and we're creating on it. So I think this podcast is creative. Like posting on social media is creative. Surfing's creative. So
like, not to get all deep and meaningful, but
you can get deep and meaningful.
Honestly,
it's all good.
This moment in time is creative. It's like every breath that we take, every word that we speak, it's like that is creation in itself. That's how you show up in the world. It's how you express who you are. And it's like, why would you want to cage that? It's like, you want to say something, say it.
Yep.
Don't ask.
Do it.
Yeah.
I was asked yesterday, and I'm going to forward this question on to you in a second, but my 3 biggest lessons from this year. Anyway, one of my answers to that was create more and just keep creating and creating. And I already knew that, but it was just highlighted again
Absolutely.
this year.
Yeah, you need it.
Have to.
Yeah.
So what would be your 3 biggest lessons of 2022?
Oh, what a year. What a year. Lesson number 1, communicate. Like, it is so underrated. Communication is everything. If you can talk to that loved one or that friend about how you're feeling, you'll feel lighter. I promise you. If you can have that tough conversation or get upset and then come back to yourself, it's like communication is everything. Say how you're feeling. Say what you're thinking. People can't read your mind, and you should not expect them to.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
I think it's personally tougher to live with the head noise or the trapped feeling of not having that tougher conversation.
Absolutely.
Like,
It's
they're called
suffocating.
tough. They're tough conversations for a reason.
Yeah.
But they're always worth having.
Yeah.
Whether they hurt, whether they make you cry or coil up, it's just like, just have them.
And like saying it out loud makes me feel like a bit of a hypocrite because I'm still learning.
We all are.
But I'm getting better at actioning those tough conversations and just saying how I feel and unpacking it after the fact. It's like, just get it out and I promise you the clarity will come. Yeah. Ooh, lesson number 2. Just stop. Take a breath. Learn to breathe deeply, slowly, restoratively. Breath is everything. It grounds, it quiets all that's going on in the head. You have to do it to survive, so learn to do it properly.
On that note, Breath by James Nestor, probably one of the best books I read last year. A book I need to read again soon, and yeah, that fully changed my view on breathing.
That was the one about the mouth tape, wasn't it?
Sure was. Still mouth taping.
We love that. We love that.
Yeah, we do. And lesson 3, what do you got?
Lesson 3. Need a quick pause on that one. Lesson 3. Just let go and have fun. Like, genuinely have fun.
What's the most fun you've had this year?
I'm not going to lie. Bali was a time.
Yeah.
It was an absolute time. It was the most in myself that I felt all year. Trip of a lifetime.
And what does in yourself look like, feel like? Because you said to me today that in the back of your journal you wrote Lani's Guide to Being Me. So if you wrote a guide to being Lani in Bali, the most Lani you could be.
Well, it starts off with trekking across a farm and jumping a fence.
Right.
That was a time.
Jump more fences.
Yes, jump more fences.
That's the bonus lesson from this year.
Because I promise you the view was incredible. Picturesque cliffs on Uluwatu. Yeah, that was a pretty special moment. For those close to me know why. Warmth and humidity, and take someone who knows how to ride a bike, because being a passenger is so much better than driving.
Oh, you're talking a motorbike?
Moped.
Moped?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Something that doesn't require a license.
Always the thrill.
Good food,
Essential.
good drinks.
Yeah.
Warmth, sunlight, humidity. Oh my gosh. Those who have been living on the Gold Coast at the start of this year, it was nothing but darkness and cold and wet. And Bali was one hot breath of fresh air.
It's all relative, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I think if someone was to ask what makes me feel most like me, it would be the sunshine.
Yeah.
It is the one thing that genuinely charges every cell of my being. Like, I could sit in the sunshine and feel like I've just had a 3-hour nap. The ocean, 100% salt water, clear, crystal, sparkling. And being in nature where it's quiet. Moving slow, eating well,
Yeah.
staying hydrated.
I love it. It's a simple guide to being Lani.
Yeah.
Sun, ocean, nature, move slow, eat well.
And connection. Yeah. I'll full stop it there. Connection, friends, family, loved ones. They are the reason I am who I am.
Amazing. Well, that's a great segue because I've got here, who are the people that have had the greatest impact on you or your perception of self?
Oh, I love this question.
You wrote it.
Yeah.
Well done.
I did. Oh, that's so funny.
I really like the perception of self part. I underlined that because I was quite curious.
Yeah. So perception of self is a big one. I feel like because we are in our heads so much, it can become distorted. And to have those trusted external beings, the ones that love you unconditionally, they're very good judges of your own character. And I feel like when you can hear what they have to say about you rather than what you have to say about you, it can be such a relief and healing and can bring everything back into perspective.
I feel like you have to be so selective of those people though.
Oh,
Like for me, I call them my tier 0.
tier 0. I love that.
It's like, which is like your inner circle.
Yeah.
Circle's a 0 shape. And then you have different tiers that go out. It's like, yeah, you have your friends, acquaintances, colleagues, and they might be tier 3, 4.
Yeah.
Great people.
Yeah.
But you have your tier 0, and it's just like, they're the people you trust because they're going to give you a honest opinion that is just, it's not malicious, it's not harmful.
Always
but
from
it's
a
honest.
place of love.
It's like, honesty comes out of love.
Absolutely. And it's like, they're going to be the ones to pull you up when you need it most. So in saying that, my greatest influences on my perception of self have to be my mum and my dad. I know they're not going anywhere. They love me for who I am. In my light, in my dark, in my just damn straight difficult. They'll always love me. Shout out to you, mum and dad. My fiance Jai,
who's currently producing this podcast.
A man of many talents, might I add.
A get it done operator with great enthusiasm.
His patience with me the past couple of years, while I've been on this journey, is something I'll always be grateful for. Oh, got a little emotional. Yeah. And then, a very special, like I have a lot of, not a lot, but I have a few very close friends that life takes us in different ways, different paths, and we go months without seeing or speaking to each other, but I know they're always there. And then when we do reconnect, it's like they never left. And I've been incredibly lucky to add to that collection of mine this year. Her name's Zara. Her and I have become inseparable lately, and it's just been the most healing experience building that friendship. She gets me on so many levels, and it's like I'm almost talking to myself. We genuinely share a brain sometimes, I swear, and neither of us have to talk to know when we're thinking a certain thing. It's
You're on the same frequency.
Yeah, exactly. Same frequency.
Frequency is everything. Everything. Oh, sounds like you got some pretty good people in that
some
tier
top
zero.
tier zeros.
Oh, incredible. What else do I have here? I think this could be a nice question to wrap up. What advice would you give to your younger self?
Oh, wow. See, I like asking this question. I don't necessarily like answering it.
I love asking questions.
What advice would I give to my younger self? Oh, honestly, just enjoy the journey. Like, it's not about where you go, where you end up. Enjoy where you are now, because that is exactly where you are meant to be. And everything you're experiencing is for a reason, and I promise you it has a purpose. And it may not be clear to you right now, but it will be. It's just learning to sit with where you're at, embracing it, accepting it, and know that good things are to come. Yeah.
Boom.
Bam.
Bam. Well, thank you for letting me be part of the opening of Mind of Our Own.
This has been incredible.
And I can't wait to see where the journey of Mind of Our Own takes you and the many people that will inevitably be a part of it as well. So,
yeah, me too.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Lani Morehouse, founder of Mind of Our Own. It has been an utter joy to spend the morning with Lani.
Yeah, thank you, Josh.
And I hope you will get to spend a morning with Lani or some space with Lani soon.
Love it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Have a great day.